Welcome back. It's All Elite Arcade, your place for video game discussions here at AEW Games every single Monday, wherever podcasts may be. This is actually a pretty big episode for us because we've hit the big 5-0. That's almost a full year of doing podcasts together, Chugs.
Unbelievable. I can't believe it's been 50 episodes already. Seriously. It both feels like we've been doing this longer, and also it feels like we just started it yesterday. It's absolutely wild. This is episode 50. And I do want to say very quickly, probably going to say this multiple times, but thank you so much to everyone who tunes in and listens every single week to this podcast. I mean it from the bottom of my heart, and I don't mean to speak for you, Uno, but I know it's the truth. This is one of our favorite things to do every single week. We look forward to it so much, getting the chance to talk about video games, answer your questions. So again, thank you all so much to everyone who listens to this and makes this possible. We really appreciate it. We love it. Here's to 50 more. Here's to 5,000 more episodes.
Hell yeah. And honestly, it'll be very easy because this has been the easiest job I've ever had.
Easy.
Just talking to my friend about video games while other people also want to hear about video games. Thank you to everyone that has supported us through this. Genuinely, I had no idea we were going to reach 50 so fast. I also never thought that we'd have so many people hanging on for the ride. So we really appreciate all of your support. It would not happen if it wasn't for you. And here's to 50 and 500 and 5,000 more and so much more video games. Also, as a special occasion, since this is our 50th episode, we're actually changing it up a little bit today. There will be no news talk today. Instead, special segment, I sit down with new AEW wrestler Speedball Mike Bailey, and we talk about his video game influence on his wrestling, as well as the games he's actively playing. That is what we're going to pitch to after that. But before we do all that, I do have some rigmarole that I do have to talk about because I am employed to do so. It's about the Trailer Park Boys. Did you know that we have a mobile game, and so does the Trailer Park Boys? Well, the Trailer Park Boys are stepping into the ring with AEW's biggest stars in a one-of-a-kind crossover event happening across two epic mobile games. Jump into AEW Rise to the Top and Trailer Park Boys Greasy Monday to experience exclusive content, over-the-top action, and a greasy good time as your favorite characters brawl their way to the top. Bubbles, aka the Green Bastard, have what it takes to take on Chris Jericho, Kenny, Christian Cage, and Cope. Find out in this limited time event. It starts March 27th at 2 p.m. PT or 5 p.m. Eastern and runs all the way through to March 30th. Do not miss it. Download AEW Rise to the Top and Trailer Park Boys Greasy Money on the App Store or Google Play Store right now. Thank you very much to the boys from Trailer Park Boys.
Thank you.
A heck of a collaboration. I have to get ahead of this. I played so many games this week.
I love to hear it.
Yes.
I love to hear it. Tell me about it.
Okay, so I'm gonna save a very relevant game. I will talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows towards the very end.
Nice.
But I want to keep people up to date with my Donkey Kong quest. I went through DKC 1, DKC 3, and last week we talked about Diddy Kong. Chugs, you were there. You were present for it. I beat Diddy Kong Racing, and
yes, you did.
I don't think I thought I was gonna ever beat it because it is way more difficult than I ever remembered. And I remember previously thinking like Diddy Kong Quest and DK64 will be by far the hardest. Diddy Kong's Racing, not Diddy Kong's Quest. Diddy Kong's Racing is incredibly difficult. That final fight with Wispig, all of them are really bad. The silver challenges where you have to find all of the 8 coins and still get first in the race is incredibly hard. The bosses are incredibly hard. But Wispig, it took me 2 hours to beat Wispig. And it's incredible that a game like this exists because the only way you could beat Wispig is you could do it with any character, but it's easier with like 4 of them, of the whole lineup. You can only beat him if you know the secret ways of driving, which they only tell you. Like Taj tells you when you win like a trophy, he'll be like, hey, if you let go of the gas before a boost, it'll be your fastest boost. But they never tell you again. Or they'll be like, if you hold drift, you will not lose speed on a turn. Or if you keep tapping A instead of holding, you'll go slightly faster. You need to use every one of those tricks, and you need to hit every single boost perfectly to ever come close to beating him in 3 rounds. I kept doing it over and over and over and get inches from winning, and then I would like miss one boost and get screwed. On my last run, I decimated him. By the end of lap 1, I was already ahead of him, which is kind of impossible. And then by round 3, I couldn't even hear his steps behind me, which I've never been so proud of a run, because I was like, I locked in, and I locked in as well as humanly possible. And I'm glad, because I went and played some of the extra content on my own after that. I'm glad I never committed to 100%ing it. It's even harder afterwards. It's crazy.
I bet. Uno, can I just quickly say, first of all, what a joy it was to watch. Even the challenging parts. I know it took a while, but it's so fun to watch someone play something that is so difficult over and over and over again, and then finally overcome it.
Oh, yes.
So everyone who's listening, if you haven't watched Evil Uno on Twitch, please do. It is an absolute joy. I had a blast. And I literally stood up and jumped when you won. I was so excited. Me and my brother were watching it together. But once again, the game looks incredibly difficult. There were multiple times where you were crushing it, and then it'd be like one minor mistake. Maybe you didn't get a super boost. Maybe you didn't turn quite as sharp as you wanted to, and then it was over. It was wild to watch. I can't get over how difficult that final race must have been. But again, it was so cool. I'm so glad I got to watch you do it live, because yeah, it looked challenging. But you're right. That last run where you beat him, you just decimated him,
yes.
Destroyed him. It was awesome.
I thought I was going to get continuously humiliated and would just give up, but no, I stuck to it. I'm very glad I did, and now I don't have to beat Diddy Kong. I'm on to DK64, which is going to be an entire different type of difficulty, which will just be on my patience alone, I think. So that's on my quest for Donkey Kong. I'm now at DK64. I beat Diddy Kong's racing, but I've been playing a ton of other stuff, because Steam had their spring sale this week. And because I was not traveling, you had a horrendous travel this week to Omaha. God. I can't imagine. I'm sure part of what you gamed will be in a airport somewhere.
Absolutely. A big portion.
Portion. But I got to stay home, thankfully, and I got to do what I want. And so I looked through the Steam sale stuff, and you would be surprised at how cheap some stuff is, because there was sales that were like 90%, 70%, 80%. So I got a bunch of little indie games, including I played through Dead Letter Department, which is a first-person horror game where you essentially go to your job every single day in a warehouse, but as you keep doing your monotone job, you're slowly losing it. And your job is you work for the post office, and you gain letters back from the post office that the AI was incapable of reading, so it's your job to type it in to teach the AI to read certain fonts and stuff. But as you play, the atmosphere changes. You start losing your mind. You start unraveling a little bit. The text you put in is no longer addresses. Maybe the interface changes in a way that it messes with you. And so I played through the entirety of one run. But the beautiful thing of this, and I think that's a trope for a lot of horror games, is there's like multiple endings to this. And I truthfully do not know how to get any of the other endings, but now that I've beaten it once, I might look into doing it. It was quite a joy, especially if you're into me. I like typing games, so to do typing games under pressure and also in a horror situation is something that's very much up my alley. So if you like Dead Letter Department, that's on Steam right now. Another one I played was Numby's Number Factory. So I've been playing all these roguelikes. Balatro, nice. I've been talking so crazy about how they took the concept of poker and added roguelike features to it to essentially change the way you play every single time. Well, Numby's Number Factory looks like a 90s GeoCities site graphically. It looks like an old, bubbly, bad fonts, colors don't match in a way. It has a very neat aesthetic, but what it is, it's a Plinko game, and the Plinko game has roguelike mechanics. So as you drop your ball, slowly the balls will have different roles. They'll have you hitting one ball will trigger other balls. You'll get items that say when you hit the first ball, every other ball gets doubled in points. And so it's really about building a chain of items and weapons that help you maximize the amount of numbers you get. And so it's like every other roguelike. It's about breaking the mathematics behind it with your simplified game. And I played a few hours of that, and I was very, very impressed by this game. Very cheap, also in Steam. It's called Numby's Number Factory if you get the chance to play it. And then last two games. This one I played. This one actually was very popular last year, but during the Steam sale, I bought TCG Card Shop Simulator.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so you and I have been into that TCG Pokemon game. I've been unpacking so many cards, and when I saw it for sale, I was like, oh, I remember hearing about this, but I'm not big into simulators. I'll give this a try. Huge mistake, because I've spent way too much time operating a shop that I make no actual money out of. I think I put 10 hours into this, and essentially what it is you run a shop. You go from day to day, filling up your inventory, buying new items, leveling up those items so that, like, for example, you start with a basic pack, you eventually get a rare pack. Eventually you have boxes that have the packs in them, you can sell those. Eventually you can sell plush toys, dice, board games, and you're slowly ramping up the content in your store, and you're also building up these play tables so that people can come run tournaments in your situation. And so that's kind of like, that's your advertising. You advertise a big tournament, people come there, and then maybe they buy your stuff, and you use the cash register and actually operate it. You get cash, you have to give out, here's a 10, here's a 5, here's two single dollars and 25 cents, there's your change. Or if it's an interact, you have to do like a little interact pin entering mini game to make them pay. And it's been very neat. It's been very interesting. I also know it's only in early access now, so it's only going to expand upon what is there. And after 10 hours, I have reached, there's 100 levels. I've only reached level.
Wow.
Yeah, I've only reached 8 levels. So
no way. So holy cow.
So if this is something I get into, there will be a lot of content for me to explore in the future. It's been something I really enjoy. I'm not big of a simulator guy, but this one has been very fun, and I put in a bunch of time into it.
That's what I was going to say, Uno, is I have very little experience with simulators as well, but that seems really cool. And it's Pokemon, so
exactly.
It sounds very interesting.
It's less Pokemon. I mean, it is Pokemon. They don't have the license, but as you're opening packs, you're like, this is just the Pokemon trading game.
Yeah.
So yeah, incredible game. I probably will keep playing at that, and maybe in the future, in between some of the Donkey Kong games, you'll see me play a little bit of it on Twitch. And then finally, the big game I got to play is, we had a big release this week. We had teased it months ago. It got pushed back to this month. But Assassin's Creed Shadows came out this week on all consoles, on PC. It's actually getting rave reviews, which is great, because I know there's a lot of Ubisoft's future riding on this one game, and I think it is actually doing very well. They sold over 1 million copies within the first day. It is already exceeding on Steam numbers from Valhalla, and it's getting close to Odyssey and Origins. So I think it is genuinely doing much better than people anticipate. But I jumped into this as someone who has not played much of the recent Assassin's Creed game. I played part of Valhalla, which I enjoyed. My main issue was just I gave up 40 hours in when I realized there was going to be 200 more hours. But I did enjoy it. Odyssey I didn't get to play, and Origins I didn't get to play. I played about 2-3 hours of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and this could be a two-prong approach on how I'm going to explain this, but I am really enjoying it. I think visually it's stunning. I played it in an immersion mode, so it's Japanese language and Portuguese language with subtitles, and I honestly think that makes it feel authentic as you're playing it. Situational-wise, attack-wise, all of that is incredible. Voice acting is incredible. The story that they've been displaying, I've been very much enjoying, and the bit of combat that I have played, I've enjoyed as well. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous game, and it's running very smoothly on my PlayStation 5, which is very, very neat. I'm sure I will play more of this, because I think there's 200 hours left of this, and I will keep talking about how well I'm enjoying it in the next little while. The thing I want to talk about is I'm actually kind of turned off on these type of games now, because in the 2.5, 3 hours that I played, I watched about 1.5 hours to 2 hours of cutscenes, where visually they were incredible. I think I was moved the whole time. I was enthused the whole time. But as far as like actual gameplay, and I'm a guy who predominantly will play a game that I can get within 5 minutes. I'm in the gameplay, and that's the type of game I'm into. This was very tough to get through. If it wasn't for a game I was very excited for, 3 hours and not getting a whole lot out of it, gameplay wise, is very tough. And it's not something new to video games. A lot of the big video games are like this, but I'm starting to get really burned on games trying to be cinema more than they try to be video games, in a way that, while I think this is incredible and they have really, really nailed it, I'm just getting to that point where I can't imagine I have a decent amount of time, but I can't imagine a father of 3 or like someone who gets 3 hours of video game a week, if that, jumping into this and never getting to play much of a video game every time they do. I have reached a point now. I passed the prologue. I passed the original story beat. I am finally in the open world portion, so it will, from here, I would imagine, be way more gameplay focused.
Yes, that's what I was guessing too. Yeah.
Yeah, and usually that's how these are spread out. But I feel like it's too much to play 2 hours of cutscene in the first thing. And also, we talked about this before. This is not the only cutscene in this game. There's a lot of cutscenes, including, and we thought both of us, we saw this and we thought it was a joke, but somebody posted the credits to this game, and the credits to this game alone is a 2-hour video, which, if your credits is the length of some video games. I've played
That's a video game.
Yeah, A Short Hike, which is one of my favorite games. It can be completed within 2 hours. It's insane. And I also know Ubisoft does it different than other developers. It's not one team that touches the game. It goes through all of the teams through QA. It gets cycled in and out so everyone gets their hand on it, and it helps the process of building it. So there's more names to talk about, and it's an insanely big game. So a lot of people worked on it.
Yes, it's unbelievable the amount of people now that work on these huge AAA titles, which AC Shadows absolutely is. So yeah, you're right. That's kind of how AAA gaming is now. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. The amount of people that worked on the game and the fact that the credits is 2 hours that's unreal. The game looks beautiful, and I'm definitely excited to try it.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous, and like, it's funny because I don't think it's a bad thing that it has 2 hours of credits. I actually think that's very, very cool to know, because it shows you just how many people are going to work on this. Because if I went to see Avengers Endgame, which is the big effing Marvel movie, and then it ended with 2 hours of credits, I would actually be kind of impressed how many people had to work on this one thing.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd stick around for 2 hours to watch it, but I'd be very impressed. But that's it. Those are all the games I played into. By next week, expect me to talk about Donkey Kong 64 and definitely some more Assassin's Creed Shadows as I get deeper into the game.
Yes, Uno, I love DK64 and also cannot wait to play AC Shadows as well. Again, the little bit that I've seen, I've watched some footage on YouTube and things like that. The game does look beautiful. It looks like it has an amazing story too.
Yes.
So I'm very excited to jump into that, because I'm a big juicy lore guy. So I'm very excited about it. But as far as what I played this week, Uno, as you had mentioned previously, I had quite the travel week. I was stuck in an airport all day. Didn't think I was gonna get home because of some storms. Ended up getting home like 24 hours later. It was a whole process. But fortunately, Uno, I came prepared and I brought my Nintendo Switch. So what I did, of course, I've been playing Pokemon trading card game Pocket. I'm still opening packs, ready to go, collecting as many cards as I can. But again, I am getting so into the battles now. Like, I look forward to the battles just as much as opening packs.
Hell yeah.
And I've gotten to the point where I'm at the farthest you can go, the expert level, where I'm able to win a bunch of these battles. But some of the extra challenges, like fighting a certain group with only fighting type, or fighting a certain group with only up to 3 diamond rarity and stuff like that, some of it is really challenging. So I'm still trying to go through and complete every objective. But for now, with the expert ones, I'm just moving along and just winning as many battles as I can so I can get more items to open up more packs and stuff like that. But really enjoying that. And in addition to it, I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm currently working very hard individually, like off stream, on focusing on one game at a time. I'll talk about this one later, but right now I'm focusing on Call of Duty Black Ops 6 off stream. And also when I'm on the road and traveling, I'm focusing on Pokemon Scarlet. I'm going to finish that before I jump back into Nine Souls on my Steam Deck, just to beat some more games, because I think I mentioned this before too, but here in the next couple weeks, I'm gonna have like 3 or 4 games
Hell
that
yeah.
I've beaten. I am like right on the brink of beating so many of these games, and that includes Pokemon Scarlet. So I'm at a point now where all I have is 1 gym left, 1 Team Star dungeon, and 1 Titan Pokemon left to fight. So I think I'm definitely towards the end, which has been fun. But again, just running around and exploring in that world, I'm constantly still finding new things, new trainers to fight, new Pokemon to encounter. It's been really, really fun. And hopefully I'll have a full review here in the next couple of weeks, or here in the next week when I do end up beating Pokemon Scarlet. I'm definitely really enjoying it. And then also, like I had mentioned off stream, I am continuing Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I've been traveling so much that I'm making very slow progress, but I always make sure and make a little bit of progress every week. And I started this mission, Uno. So I know I mentioned this before. There was a mission previously called Hunting Season that was in this big desert area where you had all these optional objectives. It was like an open world map kind of, and I loved it. It was one of my favorite levels at the time, my favorite level in the game. But I think I'm in the middle of my new favorite level, and this level is called Emergence. And the idea, with, again, slight spoilers for the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 campaign, but you're trying to enter this facility, but you're wearing a gas mask to prevent yourself from breathing in these chemicals. Long story short, our gas mask ends up breaking, and we do end up smelling these chemicals, where we start hallucinating and visualizing stuff that's not there. So, for example, in this mission, you're fighting zombies. There's also, the game turns into a horror game at one point, Uno,
Hell yeah.
where you're going to collect these. The objective is to collect 4 key cards. And the second key card, you're looking for it, and you keep hearing footsteps go, do, 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 do. And I turned around, and there's just mannequins there, just frozen, like a dozen of them. And I'm like, oh my God, are these things moving? And then when I turned and walked away, I heard do, 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 and they changed position. So that was horrifying. Mannequins that move when you're not looking and then freeze when you look at them.
Yeah.
That's nightmare fuel, dude. It's terrifying. But it's awesome. It's so, so cool. I'm just so impressed. And I know I've said this before, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but I'm so impressed by all the different variables they've added into this campaign. This campaign has everything. It has stealth. It has incredible cinematic action. It has horror. It has a great story, great character development, just an excellent Call of Duty campaign that, again, I can't recommend enough. I can't wait to see how they wrap this thing up and what else they add, because it's awesome. It's so good. But as far as what I am playing on stream, like I said, I've been making some really good progress. I think very soon my 5-game cycle is going to be drastically updated. Also, just had stream 995. I'm only like 5 streams away from stream 1000, which is wild. Again, my schedule has been so busy that I don't know when that stream is going to be. It probably won't be for a little bit yet, but we are approaching stream 1000, which I'm so excited about. But in addition to that, once again, I'm continuing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and I'm not going to go into detail, but I did finish the Hearts of Stone DLC. And the reason I'm not going into detail, obviously, for everyone listening, is Uno is also playing The Witcher 3, and I do not want to spoil it.
I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, of course. But I finished the Hearts of Stone DLC. And what I love so much, again, I've talked before about how great this story is, how awesome the character development is, how amazing the shades of gray decisions you have to make are. And once again, I got to the end of this DLC and I made a decision that was different from my first playthrough. And I got a completely different ending that was much darker this time. And it was awesome. It was so cool. So again, your decisions really matter in the Hearts of Stone DLC, and it's just an awesome story. So that's all I'm going to say. I wrapped that up. I have the main game to finish, and then of course the final Blood and Wine DLC to finish as well. So getting close to beating The Witcher 3 again. And speaking of getting close to finishing a game, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. I have collected all 7 crystal stars, 7 of 7 crystal stars, and I'm in the last dungeon. So I think the next time I stream this game, I'm going to beat it. I'm going to see the finale. And let me tell you, before I played this game, my favorite Paper Mario game was the very first Paper Mario on Nintendo 64. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is going to be my new favorite. I mean, it's just what a great story, great music, great battles, so many different scenarios and circumstances they throw you into. It's just such a wonderfully written game. I laugh out loud like every single stream with Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. So that's been such a joy. And then after I finish that, I'm going to jump into my first playthrough of FF6, which I'm excited about. And speaking of getting close to the end as well, I know I've been saying that a bunch, but it's true. Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, I finished the second DLC, my personal favorite DLC, actually my personal favorite section of all of Dark Souls 2, and that is Crown of the Old Iron King. The last time we talked about that, I was stuck on the Aged Smelter Demon, aka the Blue Smelter Demon, where between the run back of me dying like 75% of the time trying to run to the boss, and then the boss itself, I died 25 times. Well, this week, Uno, I made some incredible progress because not only did I beat the Aged Smelter Demon, but I finished the entire DLC with all the bosses. So starting with the Blue Smelter Demon, I had this idea because the run back was so brutal that I decided to run through and kill all the enemies or most of the enemies on the way to the boss. Because after you do it a certain amount of times, the enemies despawn. So that made the run back significantly easier. So I didn't have to drink like 4 Estus before I even get into this fight. And then I went in to fight the Blue Smelter Demon, and I beat him first try.
Hell yes.
First try. First try, second time, first try, I guess. But yeah, I was so happy about that. Then I went on to fight my favorite boss in all of Dark Souls 2. He is the Fume Knight. A lot of people will probably recognize the Fume Greatsword if you've seen it before in Dark Souls 3 or Elden Ring. But the Fume Knight is such a cool, awesome boss who is very, very difficult. But once again, I died, I'd say 6 to 7 times. And my final attempt, I've never done this before, but I actually no-hit the Fume Knight, which I was like so pumped about. Like that's one of my highlights in my Souls streaming moments. I'd say beating Gale, the final boss in the Dark Souls 3 DLC on my first try is a huge one. But having a no-hit run with the Fume Knight was really exciting. And then the final boss of the DLC, Crown of the Old Iron King, is Sir Alan. It's either Alan or Alone. I think it's Alan. But he's like a samurai in this awesome arena. It's such a cool arena. That one took me like 3 or 4 tries. Really, really great boss that I ended up beating. But what I love so much about the Fume Knight and Sir Alan is they feel like Dark Souls 3 bosses. Like compared to some really intense Dark Souls 3 bosses, they're not that fast, but they are significantly faster than like every other boss in Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin. You have to be so patient and so careful. You have to constantly be staring at your stamina. And you can only get 1, maybe at the most 2 hits, or you're dead because you will not be able to dodge or get away or escape based on how quick they are. So your whole play style is much different for these 2 bosses, and I just absolutely love it. I love that fast twitch, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Elden Ring boss style, and we get that in Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin with the Old Iron King bosses. So then I'm going to go on to do the final DLC, which is Crown of the Ivory King, which I'm very excited about, and then finish the game. But just really, really cool bosses. Really enjoying my Dark Souls 2 playthrough. And yeah, that's about it as far as what I've been playing.
I mean, both of us had a lot on our plate this week.
We did. And all things considered, I actually going into this podcast today, I was like, shoot, am I going to have much to say because of my travel woes? And I'm like, every time I'm like, I played more than I thought. I mean, played more than I thought.
All the travel woes also lead to more Switch time.
It does.
Usually, if I get stuck in an airport, I'm on my laptop or on my handheld console the whole time.
Exactly. Well, I don't know if we have time for this, Uno. Do I have time to mention one more thing? Okay. Because in addition, I'm glad you said that. In addition to putting so much time in Pokemon Scarlet and making great progress, both on my Nintendo Switch with that and then Pokemon on mobile with Pokemon Trading Card Game. Of course, I am someone who, if I'm not playing video games, I'm watching video game stuff. That is just me across the board. If I don't have a Switch in my hand and you see me with my phone watching a video, I can guarantee you it's a gaming video of some sort, and I watched this new update for a game that I'm very much excited to try. I was going to wait until the full game release, but I think I'm going to play it now. The alpha is No Rest for the Wicked, the creators of the Ori franchise, or the Ori games, Moon Studios. And man, this update, it somehow made the game look even more beautiful. The areas are so big. They added more bosses, more enemies, more weapons, more fighting styles. It's like twice the size. Also, apparently, they brought back Gareth Coker, who was the one who did the music for Ori, and Ori has some of the best music in gaming, in my opinion.
I probably cried a few songs for sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know I've mentioned this, but if I ever need to cry in like a minute, just give me headphones and let me play the Ori and the Will of the Wisps theme and just sit by myself, and I'll make myself cry. It's such a moving song. But yeah, so No Rest for the Wicked just looks, oh my God, it looks so good. I can't wait to check out that game. So again, everyone listening, if you haven't seen the new Breach content update for No Rest for the Wicked, check it out. It's like a 25-minute video. God, it looks so good. It looks awesome.
It looks incredible because, like, originally I remember it came out in early access, and then it got a bit of flack because it was, the content was there. It wasn't as fleshed out, which is kind of what early access is about. You get it early before full content is there. But I think it wasn't optimized yet, and so it was very hard for some PCs to run it. These are the people that made Ori, and they're making their first, like, third-person Souls-like-ish. It's not 100% Souls, but it is definitely... It's battle based. It's third person based. You are building a character. But in this new deal, this new update, it looks like they went from having like 30% of a game to having 90% of a game.
Yeah.
So this, if you, and I'm one of these people. So if you had doubts of this, you could rest easy. This is a great point to maybe jump into. I know you will, and I think based on what you say, I probably will end up jumping in as well.
Yeah, I think again, between the combat and the story, and just, but again, I am such a sucker for the way this game looks. Like visually, I've never seen anything like it. It is gorgeous. It's a beautiful looking game. And again, the combat looks so good. It like you said, Uno, it seems like it really, really got fleshed out. And this is going to end up being just an awesome game. And again, also Moon Studios now full independent. So they have complete freedom and complete focus on this game. No one to answer to. And that's great news because, my God, they're an amazing studio.
Yeah, and we're so early in the year, we're probably anticipating at least another big update by the end of the year as well. So very exciting times for video games, especially if you're an Ori fan or you're a Dark Souls-ish fan. This is a great one. I love early access in general. I kind of enjoy the concept of providing help to a developer by buying a game early. And also, it helps them fine-tune it towards what me and most of the community want, and I've always enjoyed that, especially if you're in the community itself and you're responding to the devs and stuff. You can genuinely make an impact on a video game, and it's very nice to see that they didn't give up on this. They knew they had something good, and they full tilt went ahead, got better music, way more content. Very excited for that, and so much more.
Same here, can't wait.
A great week for video games for all of us. This is not a regular episode. Usually we would go to the news. It's actually quite a light week for news, but thankfully we have a special guest to cover for us. Myself and new AEW wrestler Speedball Mike Baby Lee will be talking right after this break, and following that, myself and Chugs will be answering your questions. That's right, the community mailbag comes up right after this Speedball interview, right after this. And we're back to All Elite Wrestling's All Elite Arcade, our gaming podcast this week. I'm Evil Uno, as always, but today we have a very special guest, a good friend of mine, someone I've known for a very, very long time, but you may only know him just recently because he's made his big AEW debut. He's got 2 wins under his belt. Speedball Mike Bailey has joined me right here today on the podcast. How are you, Bailey?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. So it's weird because of course we talked before we started recording, and we've been speaking French for like 10 minutes. And
yes,
now
we have.
Just switched to English, which is the most Quebecois thing you can do, is just rapidly switch between French and English.
Sometimes also we could both have a conversation where I'll keep one language, you'll keep the other, and we'll never budge on it. I used to do this with Stu all the time, but the second one of us would switch to English to match, my brain would tell me to switch languages, so we would always have competing languages constantly. If you do not know, Speedball, Mike Bailey, and myself are both from Quebec, Canada. We've been doing independent wrestling together for almost 20 years at this point, and now we're on a national stage. This is not a podcast about wrestling, but it is interesting to at least mention that we have known each other for quite some time. This, though, is about video games. And now I know you have a lot of video game stuff that's impacted your life. I know you're a video gamer yourself. But I do want to start with what does Final Fantasy mean to you? And also, why did you choose a Final Fantasy weapon as the name of your super weapon in professional wrestling?
Right. So my finisher, the shooting star double knee drop, is called the Ultima weapon. Final Fantasy VII was one of the first games that I remember playing and being like really absorbed in the story, like in a strange way, like as a 12-year-old would kind of look for deeper meaning and being really affected by the story. I had played Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo a lot before I got my first PlayStation. So to see, and that was the only like turn-based RPG game that I knew was Super Mario RPG. So when I got Final Fantasy VII, I was like, oh, this is just like the other one, except it goes a lot deeper and it has an amazing story. I mean, all the characters really make you feel something and really, really go deep. And again, this is a game, Final Fantasy VII, that I play about once a year and have played about once a year since it came out and I got it. And the first time I played it, I literally no access to internet, just like 100%ed it, mastered all the materia, and gold chocobo, defeated all the weapons, did absolutely everything, and it took me like thousands of hours. That's how much I played the game.
To get everything, you have to be such a high level, and that's a game. I remember when I was a kid, very similar to you, I played some RPGs on, like I played Earthbound, and I played Secret of Mana on the Super NES, and then this felt like my first adult RPG, where the topics were very adult. We're talking about like pollution, the destruction of Earth, Earth having a life essence, and that us as a population ruining it. Stuff that, like, as an adult, I can totally understand. But I remember as a kid, I was like, this is far beyond what I should be approaching as a child. But to go back, how much work you had to put into this, you had to grind after level 50 to beat most of the weapons and to get everything maxed. You had to grind. If you got 60 hours into it at that point, you probably had to grind another 400 hours to even get near the death of most of these weapons when playing. I've never completed that, so kudos to you. I could never do it. I beat the game, but I've never gotten everything. I think the closest I got was all the summons, because I really like the summons, seeing the videos. Did you play any of the remastered versions that came out?
No, so I haven't yet.
Okay.
I don't. So this is... for gaming, I have a Nintendo Switch, and that's where I play most of my games now. That and a little bit of PC gaming, but I don't have. I stopped after the PS3, like buying consoles, and I like.
You're more of a travel guy
while traveling.
Yeah, you're mostly a travel man. So
always emulators. I emulators on my phone and laptop. I have played a lot and consistently, and I keep going back to the old emulated Super Nintendo games more than anything at this point.
Of course. Yeah, I just went through and did the same. I beat all the Donkey Kongs. So, and almost, I feel more gratification replaying these old games than spending $100 to beat a 200-hour game with mass graphics nowadays. So I think you're still making the right choice. But if you do end up playing it, I would love to hear your opinion on the line, because it's kind of... There's a divide between people. There are people who really love the original, and I think everyone that plays Final Fantasy VII loves the original. And there are a lot of people that will not accept this new remake because the original is so good. So we'll have a further conversation about this in the future, because I think Adam Cole would love to be present for it as well.
my heart broken by Final Fantasy 13.
Yes. Lightning.
So I'm not sure. Didn't touch anything past that. So I'm very I'm apprehensive about the remake. I loved Final Fantasy 12, which a lot of people didn't. Very
I liked
polarizing
it too.
game.
I liked it too.
I
yeah.
loved it. I liked that the last hunt where you basically just set your gambits and then leave your PlayStation going for 3 days and walk away, and then the battle just does itself. I think that's really cool. A lot of people hated it though. But then 13 just came around. Now is a huge disappointment. I think that's pretty much the common opinion. So I hope that the remake, when I do play it, because I plan to, I will, I want to. It seems great. I hope that is still good.
Well, if you 14 is an online game, and knowing you're probably never going to play that. You're not really an online competitor of sorts. 15 and 16, while you don't have a console, maybe at some point you do want to play them. They're both very good, and more a return to previous Final Fantasies, whereas 13 was very linear. Right. I remember 13 being super excited, and the first 45 hours are straight up a linear path. And the second it opened up, I don't know if you were similar to me. I also didn't play 13 too, because there's a sequel to 13 as well.
No.
Once I reached the open path, I was so mad about the game not being what I wanted that I stopped playing it entirely.
And every dungeon is organized: 1 small, then 2 small,
yep,
then 3 small, then 1 big, then 1 big, 1 small, then 1 big, 2 small, then 2 big, then 2 big, 1 small, and all the enemies just kind of progress the same way.
Yeah, and you pretty much you redo that pattern 9 times before it's like, all right, it's an open world now. You could go wherever you want, but also you could just beat the game now if you want, which is it baffled me like crazy. One of our mutual friends, Tony from IWS, I remember at the time was like actively beating it, and he's like, "You're missing out on all this great content," and I could not ever push myself to go forward, knowing that this is just not what I wanted. I liked 9, I liked 7, I liked 8, 10. I was okay with as well. I really like the sports game in it. But Blitzball.
So 8, the same problem I have with 10 and 8 is that I can get lost in Blitzball and Triple Triad and play that forever. Just like when I recently attempted to play Red Dead Redemption 2 on my Nintendo Switch, and I stopped playing because I realized after like 12 hours of attempting to play the game that I spent 8 playing Texas Hold'em.
So every time I would go online with friends, all 4 of us have like actively current PCs, a bunch of money invested in it. We're all playing Red Dead or PlayStation, and all we would do is spend all of this money just to all 4 be at a table playing poker, which we could have done that in person. So I get.
We can do that for real.
We can do that. Yeah, that's it.
You don't need a video game.
I literally see these people every week. I could do this all the time. But anyways, Final Fantasy is a big part of your life. But I also wanted to bring up another game because you are just recently signing with AEW. It's been only about 2 weeks now that you've been present on our television show. But for months, you were a rumored free agent. And for months, people were like, where will Speedball Mike Bailey go? And every week, no matter what live television show would happen, people would be like, this is the day he's making his debut. And I want to bring up this game because, one, it's a game I am completely in love with and I've been completely addicted to. But second, I want to bring it up because you were masterfully responding to all of these news pieces by just actively going on Twitch and playing Balatro the same days anytime someone would be like, Speedball's on this show tonight. And then I think within hours I would see a notice. You're like, I'm going to be playing Balatro today. You never know where I could be. I'm playing Balatro. The game is Balatro. How did you get into Balatro? And I know you've been Twitch streaming for years now, through the pandemic. We've done very similar stuff on Twitch before. But what's your fixation with Balatro, and why was this the game that got you through your free agency?
So it was recommended to me. Hades is one of the games that I have played the most over the last 2 years. I can just go over and over and over, like 100%ed that one, which takes a very long time, especially when you're at the end of the game and you're just like kind of replaying the game, even though it's the same path 1,000 times. but someone recommended during my stream Balatro, this new game. It's like Hades but cards, and I was like, whoa, that sounds crazy. And it's like it's perfect. I don't know. There's a part of me that loves Hades is perfect on an airplane because I can watch a movie while playing.
Mm-hmm.
I can listen to podcasts while playing, and other games like Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom that I tried to play is not good for airplanes at all because it's impossible to play the game without Googling stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I agree.
So Hades is perfect because I know the game. I finished it 100,000 times. I still enjoy it, but I'm doing something else at the same time, which is kind of the same reason I loved Balatro is because I would, my whole life for the whole time I was in Canada was just training. I would go to the gym for 3 hours and then go to wrestling training for another couple hours at night. And so I was physically beat up the rest of the time. And I wanted to play Balatro, but it's a great game that you can play while watching professional wrestling.
Yes.
And it gives you the illusion that you're being productive when really you're just playing cards.
I have 200 plus hours on the game, and every time I unlock a new Joker or I complete a thing I didn't get on my checklist, I feel this warmth in me as if I actually succeeded at something. But the reality of it is I practically sat 200 hours to see this one card be picked out of a deck of cards, and I've all to say, I think it's incredible. But yes, it is. You're just getting fake earnings out of it for sure.
It's one of those games that is incredibly difficult to put away. Like you make it to ante 7 and then you die and you're like, just one more.
Yes.
And then you get a good Joker, so you're like, oh, I can't put it down now.
Yeah, it's endless. So I've been championing the game for a while now. I've turned around most people on it, and most time you try to tell people it's a poker game, and that will keep people away from it because they think, oh, that's too simplistic. But I think the beauty of that game is that everyone understands poker, and everyone understands the kind of roguelike trope of games where you could just like mix and match from one game to the other where it switches. No one ever anticipated you could take something with an already established rule set and play an F with it. My favorite part of this game is just constantly breaking the logic behind it. Like the second I know that I'm making 12 times what they want on an ante, I know I'm having a good run. So yeah, it's an incredible game. If you're not playing Balatro, go out there. Both myself and Speedball are definitely very big into it. What else have you been playing nowadays? You're mostly on a Switch guy, so you gotta be playing some travel games, I assume.
Yeah, I just started Donkey Kong Returns HD.
Yeah, now we're talking. I have a Donkey Kong stream right now. I just played DKC 1, 2, 3, and Diddy Kong all the way through. How have you played a lot of it as of yet?
Yes, I'm most of the way through. I think I'm definitely more than halfway.
Okay.
Though I haven't started like the time trials and that part of it. I'm kind of just casually playing the game for now. But it definitely feels like I'm gonna like play it 10 times. I'm gonna finish it once and I'm gonna go right back to it and I'm gonna try to clear stuff. It's very difficult. Fortunately, it's not as difficult as Crash Bandicoot 4, which I gave up on. Out of frustration, I rage quit Crash Bandicoot 4. This one is hard but doable, which I really like.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed my time playing with that game too. Other than that, so you're playing those two. Are you playing anything at PC at home or mostly travel stuff at the time?
It's mostly travel stuff. I just finished my second playthrough of the Super Mario RPG remake, which is just
incredible.
Makes me feel warm inside. It's so good.
I feel like they got the perfect amount of everything in it. It's like they did not change anything of it. It looks gorgeous, and that's really all I needed. I wanted it unchanged. I just want to play the game all the way through, but just in widescreen and with better visuals, and that's exactly what they did.
They made it a little bit easier with the time hits and the gauge, which part of me kind of wishes that it was a little bit harder. I wish that they had made the character building just a little bit more complex. Again, maybe it's just me being a huge Final Fantasy mark here, but I wish that it had been a little bit more like Final Fantasy in that all the characters level up at the same time. right? So you kind of don't have to switch party members ever. So you kind of just get into one mode that feels comfortable.
Yes.
And I wish there was different ways to organize your characters and your party and level up different things that allowed for different strategies. I think that would have been fun. But it's just a very fun, comfortable game as it is.
Who's on? I mean, the party. Can you switch parties in RPG, or it's just the set characters the whole way?
So there's 5 characters, right?
Yeah, there's
Mario's always in
Gino,
your party.
Marlo, yeah. Peach.
So this is how I play, and this is how most people play. You just go all in attack for Mario and Bowser, and then you have your third character, which you just switch between Marlo, Gino, and Peach.
Yes.
Depending on what you need. But you can also switch characters in battle, which I is a new feature that makes it a lot easier.
Oh, so I wasn't even aware of that. I didn't consciously know about that because I, much like the way you were explaining it, just stuck to my guns. And it was Mario, it's Bowser, and then I would take Marlo or Gino and switch them around. I was never big on Peach in this game, but she's mostly a healer compared to everyone else. And I'm 90% doing attacks if I'm playing these games, especially RPG, which is, without being rude, a baby's RPG. It's very, as far as tactics, it's very straightforward. If you attack mostly, you will perceive through and you will. And then last question I want to ask you. You debuted a new finisher. It's a double roundhouse back kick. Am I correct in describing that?
Would be a 540 spinning hook kick. I think
there you
is
go.
The best way to describe it.
Now, we already talked about how you used Ultimate Weapon as your descriptor, as your finisher name for your shooting star double knee. Are you thinking of utilizing a video game name for the back, the 540 hook kick as well?
No, so I'm going to step away from video games.
Whoa,
which is very
big move.
unfortunate.
Big move.
It should be a video game. So I called it Time Adventure.
Oh, yes, that's right. I actually read this article. This is the final episode of Adventure Time.
It is,
Yes.
which basically Time Adventure is a song that all the main characters sing in the last episode to take down the main monsters that's
Yes.
threatening the world. It's an embodiment of chaos and discord, and because they sing it in harmony, it slays the beast. But as they're singing it, Bimo, who is my favorite Adventure Time character, just yells, "My art is a weapon."
Which is you to a T, really.
Correct. I am very disappointed in the fact that there is no Adventure Time video game that is good as far as I know. They made a couple and they're like okay.
Yes, they're
but
passable at best. Yes.
Passable at best. I want the same people who made the South Park RPGs to make it Adventure Time turn-based RPG. I think that would be fantastic.
I love that.
Again, so Adventure Time, incredibly deep lore, lots of characters that have different superpowers. I want it to be I want Chrono Cross with an Adventure Time skin, basically.
That would, you could make a lot of money. If people are listening to this, take this to heart because there's money to be made here.
Well, so Adventure Time is on HBO, so we've got an in right there.
Yeah,
so.
we've got a synergy. Now we're talking. I'll get on the phone with the WB people right after this. Well, that's, you know what? It's remarkable. I've known you for 15 plus years now, and I didn't know you were an Adventure Time fan. And knowing you, that makes a ton of sense. Honestly.
Oh man, super into Adventure Time.
Yeah.
Again, if you haven't watched it, right? There's 1 million episodes. They're all very short.
Yeah,
so
there's like 12-minute episodes if I remember correctly. They're like half.
Yeah.
They're half of a half hour. So.
Yeah, and it's incredibly intimidating. But what you can do is just find a list online of all the canon episodes that follow the main story.
Yeah.
Because if you're just watching the show casually, like seeing episodes whenever they pop up on television, you won't get the extremely complex main through line that follows the show episodically and grows, where they're actually in a post-apocalyptic world and trying to that used to be Earth, which is just, I think most people who watch don't even get the fact that it's like clearly post-apocalyptic, but it is. And when they go deep into that and how it all ties through to what happened that led them there, it's absolutely fascinating. And the fact that you have to look beyond just what you see
At the
on the
surface.
first viewing to find that's what makes it such a good show.
Yeah, it's an incredible show. I like Adventure Time a whole lot, but like much like you said, if you just like stuck in and watched 6 episodes, you would never really know the subject matter because it just trickles slowly. Towards the end, you get more like obvious pieces of it, but especially early on, it almost feels like every episode is its own thing and it's very different and it's a monster of the week kind of TV show, but when
Yes.
you see the through line of how it connects over time, it is very fascinating that they went that deep. I would, and on your subject, I would love to see a tactics RPG with our Adventure Time. That South Park one was incredible. How aren't other cartoons doing this? I have no idea. Speedball, thank you so much for today. Before we leave, though, you're also a Twitch streamer yourself. You're still actively playing video games or chatting or watching wrestling or doing your fightertainment on twitch.tv. Where can we find you, Speedball, and what can we see in the coming weeks on your channel?
I'm Speedball Bailey on all platforms. Most of the time I go on Twitch and I don't even know what I'm doing. I end up just watching a lot of random videos if we didn't like decide to watch wrestling. Last time we just ended up talking about my AEW debut
There you
and
go.
watching that back together, which was a great time.
So yeah, do check him out. Speedball Bailey everywhere, but especially twitch.tv. He'll be playing video games or talking or watching wrestling. Whatever your interest may be, he's probably doing something of the sort. Speedball, thank you so much for joining me on Elite Arcade, and I'm sure I will see you at work next week.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, no problem. Bye-bye.
And we are back, and now it's time for our favorite segment, the All Elite Arcade Mailbag, brought to you by Upper Deck. Collect your favorite wrestlers in 2024 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap autograph, memorabilia, or premium tech inserts. And Uno, do we have another Allure pack ready?
Oh, I do, and I pre-opened it just so that I wouldn't do the crinkles in the microphone. I've got a nice
there we go.
little pack here, and it starts with Shiny MJF. There he is. We've got Shiny Cash Wheeler. If you did not know, every card in here is shiny. Whoa! This Danny Garcia is even shinier than all the other ones.
Ooh.
Allure pack is by far my favorite pack we've released as of yet.
Me too. Me too.
Here's Excalibur, incredible. Brody King, that is a great Brody King card.
Nice.
We've got an Allure Aerial, that is Pac doing a big moonsault, probably his Acai moonsault, one of the highest Acai moonsaults in the world. Sky Blue, and finally, Prince Nana gets his own card, and it's flashy as well.
What a pack. What a pack. And don't forget, visit upperdeck.com to learn more. And once again, thank you so much to Upper Deck for sponsoring today's episode.
Yes, thank you to Upper Deck. You've been saints to us, and we greatly appreciate you. And we greatly appreciate everyone that sent out their question for the community mailbag today. If you want your questions read in a future episode, go to tbs.com/arcade mailbag. We appreciate you so much. It starts, and today it's actually pretty fully loaded. We have 4 questions today.
4 questions this week. Let's go.
Let's
go.
It starts with Javier. Hey, Uno and Chugs. I really enjoyed your conversation about the 2025 Video Game Hall of Fame finalists a few weeks ago. If there were a Hall of Fame ballot covering the entire history of video games, which games would you nominate as the most influential of all time? Ooh.
My God, what a great question, and so difficult to choose.
Yeah.
So difficult to choose. Uno, do you want to go, or do you want me to go first?
I'll give my first obvious answer. I think no matter what, and I think most people will think of this, I think Super Mario and the NES is the game.
Without question.
Just because Mario is the biggest property in video games. And also, I think a lot of people, even though Atari came before, and television, all that stuff, I feel like a lot of people's first console that turned video games around was the NES. And specifically Mario Duck Hunt's combo. That's what I had for several years as a child and was unaware of other games. I was more than happy with that enough. And it's a game I'll always come back and replay. If I had to nominate one, I feel like that would have to be the one.
Yeah. God, again, I completely agree. I think Super Mario Bros. For sure. Again, between how influential Mario still is today, also the fact that, again, Super Mario Bros. And the Nintendo Entertainment System saved the video game industry from the crash of 1983, where everyone thought video games were just a fad. So absolutely, completely agree. Super Mario Bros. Has got to be number one. You know what? God, this is so hard because there's a big part of me that wants to say Pong, of course, because it was the first like successful mainstream video game. But I'm going to go even further back. I'm going to say Tennis for Two from William Hickenbotham, October 18th, 1958. Many historians consider Tennis for Two the very first true video game, and I do as well. Not that I'm a historian, but as a fan of video game history. So I would nominate Tennis for Two as the Video Game Hall of Fame finalist. Again, because many people consider it the first video game, the thing that started it all. Of course, there was some prehistory to video games as well, but I'm going to go with Tennis for Two. And you know what? God, there's a part of me that wants to say Pong. There's a part of me that wants to say Pac-Man because it was the first true video game mascot and how important that was. But Uno, this would not be a Chugs answer if I didn't say I think Halo deserves it.
I mean, Halo should be in there for sure.
I mean, Halo Combat Evolved revolutionized the FPS genre on console. It revolutionized online play on console. And I just absolutely love Halo. So I'm going to, my top three, Tennis for Two, Super Mario Bros., and Halo Combat Evolved. That's my top three.
I'm gonna wingman your answer and add one to mine. I have Super Mario. I was gonna say Pac-Man or Donkey Kong because both of those arcade cabinets were deserved, and also one of the highest played ones. And to this day, we're still competing in competitions to battle it. But then when I heard you say Halo, I was like, wait, I have to nominate Doom. Doom is the first-person shooter that it's on toasters, it's on fridges, it's been everywhere. But when we were kids, it was one of the few ones you could play multiplayer with other people. You get extra DLC content. You can play it. I remember as a child, we illegally had it on our homeschool computers, and I just didn't tell anyone while actively playing. It was supposed to be a typing class. I was playing Doom. So Doom would be up there for my nominations as well. A lot of great nominees, and honestly, in a comment, let us know, youtube.com/AEW Games, who you would nominate. I think this is one of the hardest ones. You could nominate 50 games and it would all be right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, this is such a hard question, but such a great question because so many games do deserve it. And Uno, I just had this thought though about what you were saying about Doom and me talking about Halo. Like the first-person shooter genre is absolutely one of the most important gaming genres because there are so many people like me and you, we love so many different types of video games. But I would say there are a ton of people who only play first-person shooters.
Yes. Like
they would not play video games if it was not for FPS games. So yeah, it is like an incredibly important and influential game for sure. Again, there's a lot of people I know who only play Call of Duty.
Yes.
And that's it.
That's it. Every single year, one of them comes out, and that's their large purchase. Because that's uniformly almost everyone's touched an FPS game before, and they understand it.
Yes,
they understand,
right,
and that's all. Kudos to you, Halo and Doom, because that is all because of you guys.
Yes.
Great question, Javier. Thank you very much.
Yes, Javier, thank you so much. And question number 2 is from Dan. Dan, thank you very much for the question. Dan says, hey, Chugs and Uno, I'm a big JRPG fan, and I've finished around 80 JRPGs from the 16-bit era up to now. That's amazing.
Holy crap.
Even with that, you might be surprised to hear that I never played Chrono Trigger until this week when I grabbed it during the Steam sale. I know a lot of people consider it the best JRPG on the SNES, but I'm in the minority of people who just aren't a fan of the game. I really want to love it, but after about 10 hours, the characters and worlds don't really come alive like they do in other SNES JRPGs, like Final Fantasy VI, Earthbound, Secret of Mana, or Super Mario RPG. Now the question, do you consider Chrono Trigger as an all-time masterpiece, and where do you rank it among the SNES games I listed above?
Ooh.
Dan, thank you very much for the question. And Dan, I'm going to start this off and say, I'm going to take my video game walk of shame. I have never played Chrono Trigger.
Incredible.
Is unbelievable.
Yes.
I know it's regarded as, again, and I love JRPGs. And this game is considered an all-time masterpiece by many people. And as a matter of fact, though, when I do finish Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, I did say I'm going to jump on to Final Fantasy VI. And I was already thinking further down the line. I was thinking after FF6 of playing Chrono Trigger as the next game, because again, so many people just love this game so much. I feel like I would really enjoy it. So Dan, unfortunately, I can't really make a statement because I haven't played it, but I know it is regarded as an all-time masterpiece. And honestly, I can't wait to play it. So maybe in a few months' time, I'll be able to give you more of an answer. But yeah, great question. What about you, Uno?
On my side, I have played Chrono Trigger. I've played it an immense amount of times. I think I might have played through it at least a dozen times.
Wow.
And I've played a lot of the RPGs on Super NES. That was kind of, other than PlayStation 1, that's where I played a lot of my RPGs. We talk about Final Fantasy VII a whole lot, but a lot of my RPGs before that were Super Mario RPG, Earthbound, which is still one of my favorite series of all time. Earthbound is actually the second of the Mother games. Mother 3 equally as good. And so I have played all of these with the exception of Final Fantasy VI, which I know is revered to be one of the best. Both of us have not played it, and both of us can't put an opinion on it. But if I were to tell you, I think Chrono Trigger is better than Mario RPG. I think that Chrono Trigger is better than Secret of Mana. I cannot say it's better than Earthbound, but Earthbound is one of my favorite games of all time. Chrono Trigger is an incredible story. It has an incredible mechanic because it has a team-based attacks. So based on who is in your team, who has their bar filled and ready, you could do X attacks, you could team up stuff. It was something, I wouldn't say it's revolutionary because I think it was in other RPGs at the time, but it is something that is a trademark of the Cross games because the Chrono games, Chrono Cross being the sequel. It is an incredible game. And Chugs, I am actually quite excited for you to play it because I think you will enjoy it for sure.
Yeah, I am too. I've heard across the board that this game is right up my alley, and after your comment and recommendation as well, I'm sure I'm gonna love it. So I can't wait to play it. Can't wait to play it.
Thanks, Dan. Great question.
Yes.
As always, if you want your questions, tps.com/arcade mailbag. Next question is from our friend Ethan. Ethan says, and this question I think we're both going to come to an answer so quickly. What do you consider the number one most iconic weapon in video games? Okay, I think we could both hit this at the same time on 3 if you want.
Sure.
1, 2, 3. Buster Sword.
Buster Sword.
Yeah, by far.
Easily. The Buster Sword is like the most iconic weapon, at least to me.
To me, too.
My goodness.
I think
Cloud with
a gun, like you could say like the Halo pistol, you could say the BFG from Doom, but those are guns. Those are guns.
Yeah.
If I saw them in real life, I wouldn't think twice about it. If a person carried a Buster Sword, I'd be like, that's Final Fantasy. That's a video game weapon. Like, that is the video game weapon. To me, in the entirety of weapons, and there's a lot of really cool ones, that's the one that's the most iconic to me by far.
Yep, me as well. I completely agree. The Buster Sword is beyond iconic. And I will say, one of the highlights of my life was getting to do a FF7 Rebirth event where I got to play a little bit of the game, and I got the chance to hold a replica Buster Sword and take a picture with it, and I was very elated. I was very elated.
How cool? How cool did you look?
I felt like I looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought so.
Felt like I looked pretty cool because this thing was huge. It was like life size, and it just really shows you how absolutely massive the Buster Sword is.
Yeah.
And how freaking cool it is. It's so cool, man.
It's taller than Cloud and is more than half of his width, which is just so impractical, but it's so cool. So cool.
So cool. It's so video gamey, and I love it.
I love it. Ethan, great question. But everyone, let us know down below because I would love to know what you say. It's got to be Buster Sword, right? It's got to be,
right? I mean, there are definitely more options, like you said, and I'm very curious what all of you have to say as well. But yeah, me and Uno are going Buster Sword all day.
Sure. And our final question, thank you again, Ethan.
Yes. And our final question for today, for episode 50 of the All Elite Arcade podcast, is from Webster. Webster, thank you. And thank you all once again for the questions. Webster says, hey guys, not a gaming related question, but I was wondering what your staple cartoons were growing up.
That might be my third thing in my life I'm actually adamant and I've invested a ton of time is video games, pro wrestling, and cartoons from my childhood. I have a lot of opinions to disclose here. So
Okay. I have a few. If you want me to just say,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So again, this is not a cartoon, but again, the first show I remember falling in love with was the Power Rangers. I absolutely love that show. But again, not a cartoon. So going to move along. Staple cartoons for me was the Pokemon anime was a big one. I remember I used to watch that every morning before school from 7 to 7:30. And then I would head to school immediately afterwards, would sit there with my grandma and my brother and my mom, and we'd watch Pokemon every single morning before school, and it was the absolute best. But in addition to that, really, really loved Rugrats a lot. Watched Rugrats all the time. And then the other big one for me was Hey Arnold. I used to really enjoy watching Hey Arnold a lot. So those are my top three. Those are my top three.
Which is crazy. We're going to have vastly different... Well, we're slightly different in age, so I think we'll have slightly different cartoons from our childhoods as well. But my big ones... as a kid, I watched all kinds of cartoons. My day was spread out between watching cartoons when I would wake up, go to school, come home for an hour of lunch, watch 2 cartoons because I'd have 2 20-minute episodes just long enough. I would miss the end of like Sailor Moon or something. And then I would go to school and I would come back and then I would watch more cartoons. The big part for me, The Simpsons is, I think, one of the greatest cartoons of all time, especially in my generation when it was hitting its hardest, because that's over 25 years ago, and that's when we were like deep into the best seasons of The Simpsons. It is still a show I will watch today. I'm not as adamant about watching every episode as I used to be, but like a lot of my humor and a lot of how I address the world has been formed by me watching The Simpsons. And so you'll hear me probably quote it without realizing quite often. Other stuff that I really watch, Batman animated series. I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast before. I'm a huge Batman guy. I have a huge Batman collection. They're amongst my favorite movies, and an animated series is amongst my favorite cartoons of all time. It's beautifully drawn on painted backgrounds, which is something that has been done many times before, but it is all dark spray paint as backgrounds. And so it's always a very dark background, which was something completely different from all other cartoons at the time. And it just, even today, if you watch an episode from back then, it still feels current, and it still feels, it still has the same life that it used to have. So it's well worth the time. And then I will shout out some quick ones. Samurai Pizza Cats. Was a big fan, was a kid. Street Sharks. I don't know if you know of Street Sharks.
No.
It's exactly what you think. They're like they're sharks they're street ruffians. They were like a band of sharks in cutoff jeans.
Nice.
Yeah. They ruled.
Yeah.
They had great action figures. And then the other one was Biker Mice from Mars. I come from an era where every animal had a badass version of them, and I watched all of those. Mighty Ducks, that was another one that had the Mummy is Alive.
Oh, yeah.
Mummy is Alive. Cartoons are one of my favorite likes in life. I've invested too much time watching them. But I would love to hear also what other people's cartoons are, because I know like there's a whole generation of cartoons I don't know about.
Oh my God, yeah. Seriously. There's some cartoons from my generation that I didn't watch that I feel like I missed out on. You're right. There were just countless different franchises with different cartoons, and a lot of them rule. Cartoons do rule, dude.
Oh, yeah.
They do.
A hell of an art form. And thank you so much for that question.
Yes.
Seriously, we love talking video games, but every now and then I do like steering into other subjects. So I greatly appreciate you sending your question. If you want your question asked, tbs.com/arcade mailbag, North American questions only, unfortunately. If you want some comments or you want some opinions, though, go into our YouTube video, youtube.com/AEW games. Go in the comments there. I read them, and quite often will respond as well. So do check that out. Chugs, we're going to see you on Twitch this week, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Once again, twitch.tv/thechugs. I'm going to get ready to play some Ender Magnolia, some more Silent Hill 3. Of course, the other 3 games that I mentioned, The Witcher 3, Paper Mario, Dark Souls 2. Going to finish some of these games probably. And also getting closer and closer to Stream 1000, which will be a 12-hour extravaganza. Going to play a bunch of different games.
Dang.
It's going to be a celebration of video games. Absolutely cannot wait. But yes, if you want to come and hang out, twitch.tv/thechugs.
Very excited to see your 1,000 90,000 stream, if only just to see how you'll manage 12 hours. I know you've done it before. I've done it before too. It always seems daunting, but then when you're through, you're like, oh, I could do that. But by hour 8, I'm always exhausted.
Uno, yeah. I've never done a 12-hour stream.
Really?
Nope. This is my first one. This is my first one.
My longest one, I did this for charity. I did 25 hours, and I did have to take 2 breaks of an hour where some other people took over and I took a nap.
Yeah.
Because it was too much. But it was worth it. I raised $90,000 at the time. So worth it. Well worth it.
Amazing.
So do check out Chugs on his Twitch, twitch.tv/thechugs. Myself, I'll be at twitch.tv/eviluno. I will be playing Donkey Kong 64. We are going to mix it up a little bit, and I will throw an independent game in the middle there just to be like a palate cleanser every now and then, just because DK64 will take me a whole month, and there will be days where I just do not want to be Lanky Kong, and so I'm going to end up playing something else. But do check it out, twitch.tv/eviluno. I'm now up to doing like 3-4 Twitch streams a week. So I'm right back at it. As well, you can go to twitch.tv/AEW Games. Watch our boys from MXM, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday. There is a live Twitch stream as well. If you go to youtube.com/AEW Games, you can watch our video format every Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time. But as well, the Bronami code by MXM drops every Thursday. We're thankful for all of you. We're thankful for Speedball Mike Bailey. I can't believe we made it to 50 episodes, and we are so close to a full calendar year. I don't know what we're going to do, but I'm very excited for that episode. I'm excited for everyone who continues to support us, and I want to thank you personally from myself and the Chugs. That is it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back next Monday. I hope you have a great day, great video games, and bye-bye.